March 2nd, 2013, at 1:45 p.m. We will stand and have our invocation by Councilwoman Sanford, and our pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilman Miller.
We ask that you bless each and every one represented here, because we know that each and every one is one. So lead us and guide us and direct us. This we ask in the precious name of Jesus.
Amen.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Councilwoman Linda Bozich, District 1. Councilman Michael Wade, District 2. Councilman Donovan Calvin, District 3. Councilwoman Carlette Sanford, District 4. Councilwoman Patricia Jenkins, District 5. Please let the record reflect Councilwoman Jenkins is not present. Also, we have President Lisa Foster, Town Clerk, City Attorney Marcus Patillo, and Chief Police Chief Russell Lee.
Do you have a microphone?
Next, we have moved to put item A and B, amend the agenda, move to put item A and B.
Microphone? Is there a microphone?
No, it's not.
Well, you all talk louder.
Move to put item A and B in executive session. That was a misprint on the agenda. Those items, litigation. So I will entertain a motion to do it.
Permission to amend agenda to the mayor, please.
I think she can hear either.
Second by Councilman Ray, all in favor, say by saying aye. Any opposed? So items A and B will be placed under executive session. And at this time, before we have public comments, the chief was wishing to have a few words.
I want to thank you on behalf of the town for coming. We're gonna, this meeting is gonna be kept calm. We're gonna have public comment in a minute. We have 3 minutes to speak. It's not a bashing contest. If you got questions that you need to ask, I know a lot of people's here. Ask your question. Let's don't argue. Get your point across. We respect your questions, and then you can have a seat. If you can't hear, we'll try to speak loud. When you read if you got a question to address the council, speak loud so everybody can hear. We don't have microphones, so that's the best we can do. Okay? Thank y'all for your cooperation.
If we could start public comments now, and like the chief said, they will be held for 3 minutes.
You start my time.
Can we request the meeting be out in Beaver City Hall where we can all be there?
Can we move the meeting next door where everybody can be in here?
Can't participate this way.
Motion to amend agenda to move the meeting next door.
Second.
Our meeting Monday night will be in the auditorium.
That's a no.
There is more room over here. There's more room over here.
There's standing room in the corner.
You can get over here.
Can they go around and come in another one?
Why can't we move it over there today?
There's standing room in the front if somebody wants to move through.
Yes.
Ready to get up there?
Come on, come on through and get there.
Come on.
Hold on, Rose.
Come on back.
Come on through. There's plenty of room up front. If everybody back here will come up, there's plenty of room around the corner. Come on through.
Come on through.
Come on through. All the way around to the right. All the way around to the right.
Let's go.
A lot more standing room up there. A lot more room up front.
$10 minimum.
A lot of room up front.
There's a lot of room up there.
There's some room over in the kitchen too.
Lots of room in the kitchen.
My name is Russell Mills. I was at the 705 South 2nd Street. Coming before the council today at the Citizen Home, not the chief of police. Mayor, I want to ask you a couple questions about some travel. I have requested several documents from the town of Homer and I've paid for them. I've got over 1,200 pages of documents from the town of Homer, cost me $303. As I read through them, there's several questions that come to my attention, I'm sure to the attention of the community, if they had them all. One particular trip, the mayor and her husband took a trip to Phoenix, Arizona for the National League of City Convention. This was November, the convention was for November the 4th, the 8th to the 14th, 2011. The convention was actually 4 days, but y'all's trip, y'all paid for 7 days. You received $71 a day for 7 days for a meal expense. Let me remind you, the convention again was for 4 days. The registration fee was $375 for the full conference and $85 that you paid for Anthony to go. Also included was an $80 luncheon for 2 people. The total for this trip was $940 charged on town credit card. You also received $260 for taxi cab expense before the trip. However, there was no receipts to reflect the money was used for taxi cab service noted in the 2011 audit. The mayor also, the flight manifest shows that you flew back from Shreveport to Dallas-Fort Worth first class. I don't have the total cost of the trip because I wasn't given all the receipts of the request. All I got is what I got to go by. It also means this kind of money being spent not only once but numerous times. This practice has been taken to get a meal expense and then the credit card is utilized to purchase foods and money. Not only was it done on this trip, but it's been done on numerous trips. Like I told you, I got 1,224 pages of documents. And I can assure you that I'm going to go through each one of them strategically. And if violations have occurred, they need to be addressed properly. If I would have done something like that, y'all would have been on me as quick as possible. But $71 a day for 7 days, that's more money than most people in homes can get on a family of 3 for their groceries. But we're throwing it away like it's nothing. But the council has the audacity to tell me that I'm spending too much money for what the town gives me. What do we bring back to Homer out of this? This cost me $1.75 for these 4, 5, 6 pages. But it cost me $303 for the remainder. And I want to just scratch the surface. It's wrong. I think if you research it, you know it's wrong. And I'll give you this free if you want to research it now and give an answer. That was smart. This has nothing to do with the litigation at hand with the police department being disbanded. This is travel expenses, it's public record. I urge every citizen of Homer to request these records. It's easy. If you don't know how to do it, I got the form. Mayor, this is gross spending, and it's proven on every page I looked at on this clip. It is. You can't answer a question, and I'm not hoping I'm stepping out of bounds. But if the police department is here Monday or not, I can promise you, those pages are mine, I'm gonna research them. I'm not gonna stop. Fair is fair, right is right. Have a good day.
That's right.
My name is Pat.
Well, it's time to get
Pat
good.
Lawson, my business address is 727 West Main, here in Homer. I saw this article in the Painesville News. It says facts about the town of Homer. One thing that bothers me is, I'm just curious, who wrote this? Did this come out of your office? It was a paid advertisement. It says all throughout this, Mr. Mills, Mr. Mills, Mr. Mills, and it refers to councilwoman, councilman, councilwoman, and yet we repeatedly refer to our chief as Mr. Mills. I think he was an elected position. He deserves the respect to be called Chief Mills in any article that's written about Homer.
That's right.
And that's This is a copy from the Town of Homer Independent Accountant's Report on agreed upon procedures dated December 31st, 2001, we're paying finance charges on credit cards to Office Depot of $97.68 per month because we're not paying the balances on time. Also, we have a Visa account that we're paying $97.05 a month in finance charges because we're not paying the balance of these credit cards. That's $200 a month that we're giving these credit card companies because we're not paying our bills on time. It's right here, it's the auditor's report. He also states, and I believe this might have been what Russell, Chief Mills was referring to, is in some of the reports, there's missing receipts, taxing receipts of $260 that you reimbursed for, but you have no receipts for. That right there is something to question. Also, the mayor and the mayor's assistant went to Virginia and spent $3,500 on training for historic preservation. They were given $610 in advance for their meals. But their meals were charged, and I have all the receipts on the town credit card. You also went to Monroe the night before your flight, stayed in a hotel in Monroe. You checked in at 8:45 p.m. You went to Copeland's at 9:15 or 9:45 p.m. and ate. And the meal ticket that I have, the copy of the credit card receipt that I have, shows that you paid for 3 people to have that meal with you. The town paid for 3 people for the night that you went to Monroe, the night before you left for Virginia. When I have a flight in Shreveport at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get up out of my bed at 3 o'clock and I drive to Monroe to get a 6 o'clock flight. Note that on that receipt there was ribeye steaks, crawfish, popcorn shrimp. Also there was a daiquiri, and there also been a Corona Rita, an alcohol drink that was purchased as well.
Gotta get loose
And that's
with
what
this
we're
civic
paying
duty.
for as taxpayers. So don't come here and tell me we have a budget issue and overspending in our police department.
That's right. Right. In fact, you have my quit.
I'm Robert Sanders, and I live at 129 Fair Trail out in the parish, not in Homer anymore. I lived in Homer most of my life. During my time in Homer, I spent 4.5 years as a recreation director for the town of Homer. I never charged them not one penny to do what I did. We had flag football, we had some basketball, we had Little League baseball. I went and cut the fields with my own equipment because the town didn't have the right equipment to cut a ball field.
Right.
Nowadays, y'all are wasting, based on what we were told the other night, $36,000 a year on 2 people to run recreation. And what recreation do we have? There's nothing documented in the paper telling us to come watch kids play. I mean, my deal is, recreation, you should have volunteers doing what is right for a bunch of kids, not lining their pockets when they don't even live in the town of Homer. They live outside. Because we want to hire somebody that is the postmaster.
That's right.
That lives outside the city
That's
limits to run recreation, and your kids don't have anything in this town today. Come on.
Good for you.
My name is Susan Herring. I live at 231 North Main in Homer. And I want to say that nothing I say here is meant to be anything personal. This is, I've served on that position before, so I know what it's like to have people that disagree with, decisions that are made. I always respected anybody that disagreed with my position, and I think that's what community that lives in a democracy is all about, to allow citizens feedback to basically tell you how we feel about decisions that the council or the mayor are making. If the town can no longer afford to pay our police department, how can they afford a personal secretary for the mayor with an annual salary of $27,000? Another $8,000 or $10,000 in benefits. And an assistant for that personal secretary, another $15,000.
Is this true?
Is that correct? Can you explain why Homer needs a full-time mayor with 2 assistants? When a part-time mayor ran this town for years when there were more residents and more businesses. What are the job descriptions for these assistants? Why do we need 6 or more employees in the water department when in the past they managed with 3 or 4? Can you please explain how disbanding our police department without first giving proper notice to the citizens, to these citizens who elected you, and allowing their public comment in going to how, excuse me, the citizens who elected you and allowing their public comment is going to benefit this town and our fragile business community? How is disbanding the police department going to benefit our town and our fragile business community? Was any consideration given to making cuts in other areas of the budget, such as reducing the workforce in the office and the water department back to previous levels in order to save money? How does your action give incentive for new businesses to open or provide any incentive for current residents to stay at home or for new residents to move here? I was just told this morning that there was a man that had lived in Homer, was retired and coming back to live in Homer. He purchased a home in Shongaloo. He said, I am not moving back to Homer. Now, how is this going to benefit our community? How does creating an atmosphere of disharmony and distrust in Homer benefit this community in any way? I would ask the council to please reconsider your decision and rescind your previous motion to disband the Homer Police Department and allow the citizens to voice their concerns.
Right.
Start over and start by letting the citizens come and tell you how they feel about your decision. And then explain to them why you're making a decision to save money, when I was told by the sheriff himself that there's no way him taking over the Homer Police would save money.
I have a comment to make that may impact not only this issue today, but it may impact several decisions that have been made for the past 6 years. My name is Thomas Pixley. I'm a resident of 984 Highway 146, which is just 1 mile out of the city limits. We have a member of the council that sits illegally on the council and has for 6 years. This addresses Mr. Michael Wade. Michael, I'd like you to listen closely to this. This letter was emailed to me in response to a complaint that I made with the National Action Commission. I worked for the post office here in Homer for 32 years. I was told that I could not run for office because it was a violation of regulations set by the national government. I'm going to read one paragraph of this letter to you. It says, after investigating the allegations set forth in your complaint, we have determined that Mr. Wade violated the Hatch Act, prohibition against being a candidate in a partisan election for office. However, we have decided not to pursue disciplinary action and are closing the file without further action. Nevertheless, we have advised Mr. Wade that if in the future he engages in Hatch Act prohibited activity while employed in a federal job, which is the post office, by the way, that we would consider such activity to be a willful and knowing violation of the law that could result in his removal from employment. If he was illegal to run, he served 1 term, he ran again illegally, he's in his 2nd term, why is he still sitting on the city council? Do you have an answer for me? The attorney obviously doesn't want to answer the question either, so thank you. Thank y'all.
Hi, my name is Steve Boyette. I'm reside at 648 West 4th Street here in Homer, Louisiana. I've lived here for 23 years. And we got a lot of trouble going on right now in town. Homer, I got 2 suggestions to cure everything. First, I'd like my council, Ms. Amber, to have the board to rescind disbanding our home police department. That'll cure one thing. And then after that's done, I would also like my councilman to have every member and the mayor on this board resign from their office. We'll cure all of our problems. Let's start over.
That's right.
My name's Gary Eubank, live at 104 Holly in Homer. I'm helping coach the Homer baseball team, a high school baseball team. Our coach has made many attempts to get with you because the field is in horrible shape. Yesterday he had an appointment with you. Conveniently, you was not here. These boys, our children in this town deserve a lot more than what y'all are giving. That's right. And with that said, I'm going to respectfully request that the mayor and the whole city council resign their positions immediately.
Thank you very much.
My name is Matt Simmons. My business address
Pick
is
up.
401 West Main, Homer, Louisiana, the owner of Ford and Service Center. To reiterate what Chief Mills had said earlier about some, I guess you would say misappropriation of funds that's going on with the town, whether it be the mayor or the council. Here's some other trips for 2011. It's not the total of the trips because all the receipts requested were not given to Chief Mills.
More trip?
Remember, the total of travel and entertainment for 2011 was $19,850.
I'd rather have a policeman.
Me too.
They had a LAMSA conference in Bossier City, $345.60. These are just some examples of what's being spent. LMA Midwinter Conference in Baton Rouge, $3,256.62. That's a lot of money. 51st LMCA Annual Spring Conference in Baton Rouge, $1398.12. Mayor's Conference in Baton Rouge, $409.60. I mean, the list goes on and on, folks. I mean, LAMSA Conference in Covington, $782.58. Hotel room in Baton Rouge, no other documentation with the bill, $628.28. Louisiana Annual Fall Conference in Marksville, $775.72. You know, all this is paid with the town of Homer's money. Mayor and council, this is not your money. I mean, this is our money.
That's right.
Anybody else? Come on, guys.
Are there any other public comments?
You're not gonna speak.
No, how about some answers?
How about some answers?
I like that coming in. I'm here, Clark. Mayor, I'd like to ask a simple question, y'all be able to answer real easy. What is the budget for your staff here in town? Oh, my name's Ronnie Anderson, 212 Dawson Street, Homer, Louisiana. What is your budget for your staff and office? And your budget roughly? 200, 300,000? Y'all know? Simple answer. Do you know?
Hello?
Do you know what your budget is? You know what the budget is for the police department? You don't know what the budget is, or you saying that? Yes. Oh, okay. We can't get the answer, okay. How many credit cards do the employees down home have? Y'all have an audit procedure for how the money's spent. I've used credit cards for about 40 years working in the oil and gas industry. And we were always told that these could be audited at any time, so we were very careful how we did it. A lot of employees lost their jobs. Some of them had to pay retribution. The only difference is with private company, retribution is paying off the job. But when you do it for a public entity and somebody abuses a credit card or double dips, you're talking about at the time that there's some possible criminal convictions here besides restitution to lose your job. So people are falsifying information and turning it into public money. There's some serious consequences. Are you aware of that? Your attorney, you're aware of that? Have you advised everybody that to make sure they know what might go on if somebody abuses that? There's been abuses in the past. seems to be, it might be that way now. I don't have any street cars, anybody know how many street cars are out there? Anybody? Don't have any idea, you have one in your car? All the council members have one, Don, you have one? No. What about Michael Wade, you got a street car? You have a credit card, Ms. Buzzy? Okay, I know the mayor does. There's nobody here in Austin, Nick's there, so we don't make y'all weird. Attorney, y'all be advised on what's going on. Thank you.
My name is John Ball, I live 1447 Pearl. I'm an outsider. I'm not from home. I've only been home 3 years. But since I've been here and watched people that live at home, all I see is a bunch of people for me. When this man got elected, he must have been the best man for the job. He got elected. When this lady was elected, she had to be the best person for the job. She got elected. Stop pointing fingers. Vote. We find somebody that's better to do the job.
We didn't get a chance to vote on this member of the police force.
Okay, okay, vote on it. But what I'm saying, why would everybody point fingers? It's not her one individual fault. It's not his one individual fault. Y'all the people in the public, y'all live here.
But it's the spending.
I'm not talking about the police department. I'm talking as an outsider that moved to this town, and all I see is disruption. It's like a kid meeting here. It's not adults here.
That's right.
Everybody's pointing fingers. Everybody's hollering. This is not a ball game. If you're serious about it, find somebody that's better for the job and elect them.
That's the reason.
We gotta get rid of her first. Had a council and mayor resign, we'll get somebody in there.
My name is Johnny West. I live in 909 Harris Street. I've been here all my life. I'm 64 years of age. Now, for us to sit up and think there's not a problem in both departments. There are problems in both departments, but there's a solution. Disband everybody and start anew. Let everyone go, we call a recall and get everybody out. Then we will have something. Because look at the town is dying.
Yep.
Yeah, the schools are dying. But we sit up here with this mess right here. We need to have the doggone jobs here. That's what we need here.
That's right.
What created this problem?
But look at us. And this is something right here. This should have never come before.
That's right.
It should have never happened right now. But here we go. We burn our dirty laundry all out in the street. Dude be the guy.
Can't wait to get it.
But look at it. It's our fault though. We allowed it to happen.
We
Make good sense.
My name is John Marcy. I'm Reverend John Marcy. I live at 1100 North Main Street, Homer, Louisiana. And I've been here 14 years. And prior to that, I was a senior executive with major corporations throughout the United States and throughout the world, international travel and international management. My concern as a pastor is we are losing people in this town. Our children leave and do not come back. And who, as a business, would want to come to this town? We have a grade D school, and we have a city council that votes and does what they feel like to do in the dictatorship of this town. Who, as a businessman, would move here? Would you bring an automobile plant here? You couldn't get the workers to come, let alone the managers. And we have a company right outside of that town here. Used to be Ludlow. Management lives in Homer.
That's right.
And these guys are $80,000, $100,000 a year guys. Where do they live? Minden, Ruston, Shreveport. And they'll drive for an hour and a half each way to not live here. And we got gorgeous homes in this town, and they're all vacant. And I was told the other day, 1/3 of every home in this town is vacant. That's property tax. And there's going to be more. We have children. How many of you's children stay in this town? every child turns 18. In 3 months, we're gonna lose another 160 people from this town. Because the high schools graduate, all the schools graduate. When these kids graduate, what do? They go to Ruston, Monroe, Shreveport, Dallas, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and they never come back. Maybe for Christmas. In my family, it's cheaper for Nancy and I to fly to see our kids and to bring them in here. So think about that when we have a council that destroys this town. How are we going to get people in? Would you move into a town that doesn't have a police department? No. I mean, I'm a deputy sheriff. I'm the chaplain of the parish. And then we watch this parish shrink. And the only way it's going to grow is if we do something and get solid and business can come in. How many dollar stores can this town support? We couldn't keep Walmart. We couldn't keep a Chinese restaurant. And they're everywhere. Makes you think. We need to do something. And what we need to do is get rid of these people.
Lady back here. Back here.
Everybody's come to the front. Yeah.
Be careful.
My name is Alice Trump. I'm 213 on 4th Street. And my complaint is, well, I know about this complaint about the police, but my complaint is about Mr. Patillo. My son owns whatever day it was, Mr. Patillo sentenced my son to a 15-day sentence at Clayton Parish Detention Center, where he had no evidence of the case. The paper had no evidence. I went to the DA's office. They have no evidence of him even serving the sentence. I brought him to the town council. The town council sent me a week later saying they wouldn't hear me. My son got the felony on his record that Mr. Patillo sentenced him to, but the DA office said they know the case out for insufficient evidence. What? My son served 15 days. Do we get an answer? He did. He was the one running court that day. He the one sentenced him to. What? He sentenced him to. So for me, they didn't start further enough up. When they got rid of it, I brought my complaint to the town council. I got a letter a week later saying that they wouldn't hear me. So, and I gave this letter to every member of the town council. Every member got it. Thank you.
Speak up.
Who are you?
I am.
But anyway, it hurts me that y'all seem more concerned about what the citizens are saying. When y'all refuge officers, y'all have their care, right? And y'all want to make a change. Do it. But don't do it by disbanding the police department. You never called me. I got a business here. Do you realize it affects me $5,000 if he's gone every year for a jeweler's block insurance? Because without a police department, I called them the other day. Federated says raise my rate $5,000 a year. That's all I have to try to pull out of a small area. And another question is, all this travel, is it necessary? Or are you making a difference? I'm asking as a friend, is it, you seen a difference? I mean, who's getting airline miles you're accruing? Sure, there's some miles accruing you could use towards who gets it? Y'all know? You not gonna answer? Call me later, something? There you go, call me. I thought we were free. Call me. Let me know. I mean, I can't run my business like y'all running this town. I'd be bankrupt. So let's do something to save it. I don't want to move my store. I like everybody else. But I can go to Farmerville very easy and make a good living. And so leave me a police department, please.
Other comments?
Next on the agenda, we have,
Fowler, and I lived at 306 Johnson Road and have for 50 years. My question is to the lawyer. If we don't have a police department, what in the world do we need with a lawyer? May you answer me? I think that's very rude to be turning around talking while people are trying to answer questions.
Yeah.
Please give me an answer. Do you know how to talk?
I don't know. She was talking about, she has no idea what you said.
Repeat it.
Can you answer this question? Why do we need a lawyer if we don't have a police department?
Free ride.
At least I hear that we're going to have 2 lawyers. And now one don't know what the other's doing. Thank you.
Larry, keep them out of jail. I don't care. It ain't no
Can I make a comment? I have to go up I hope I can y'all hear me okay? My name is Edna Lyon. I live in the Arizona community, but I still live in Homer, the Homer town. I do my business here. My question, I'm gonna make it short, is if we do away with our Homer police officers and have 2 of our sheriffs coming out, who's going to come out if I get broke into? Can I call y'all? Is the town council going to come to Arizona and protect me? No. That's all I'm doing.
Comments?
Now we entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
Thank you for coming. We can't, this is executive session.
They don't follow the rules, why do we got it?
Well, they amended the agenda and put it on the executive session. So we can't hear the discussion.
That's the way to go.
Councilwoman Sanford, second by Councilwoman Mozega, all in favor, state by saying aye. Next, we have amend the agenda, a motion to amend the agenda.
Could you speak up?
Can you speak up?
I make a motion to amend the agenda to add items A and B back under new business.
All in favor, state by saying aye. Any opposed? Next, we have under item A, the business ratification of engagement agreement between the town and Landry Walker, appointed Roberts to representation of the town of Homer, and Mayor and Mills versus Town of Homer, number 39796, second district court, Attorney Marcus Patillo. I'll entertain a motion to accept
accept that engagement. I make a motion to accept the engagement agreement, between the town and Blanchard Walker, Oakland, and Marcus concerning representation of the town and their, rest of the town, the engagement agreement. Second. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, introduce ordinance 13-003, amending the 2013 budget of the town of Homer with respect to the police department and town general fund. I'll entertain a motion to do so. Motion made by Councilwoman Zephyr, second. And second by Councilwoman Zeke. All in favor, vote aye. Aye. Any nays?
Hey.
Thank you, John.
What is the motion?
Move the budget.
Can't hear.
We can't hear a word you're saying.
You work for us, speak up.
I think that's the point.
Got that right.
That's not a majority. Next, we have a motion regarding the Neal versus townhomes. What is it? Make a motion that the town authorize our special counsel in the suit of Russell Neal versus the town of Homer, suit number 39796, the Second Judicial District Court, to acknowledge to the court that the actions that were taken by the Board of Selectmen on February 11, 2013 did not comply with the Louisiana Open Meeting Law. Got a second? Second by Councilwoman Sanford. All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the motion carries. And I entertain this time a motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion. Second.
Now, what about the spending that the council and the mayor spending? I mean, do you approve of that? You don't approve? No, I was asking. I was just asking.
Do they vote on that?
No, that I don't approve of spending. No, I don't have that. As a matter of fact, I don't even have the, I applied for, and all the things and all, I never got it. I wrote, I never got it. It's down at Johnson Stewart's. That's been 2 years ago. To get all the salaries and all of the everything.
So what you been on the council? You don't even.
I have not had it.
What does that tell you, Carlette? They spent $19,850 in 6 months on travel and entertainment. That's 177% above the budget.
Well, if we get rid of our police department, they can do a lot more spending like that, because they will outspend.
That needs to be seen about too.
But if you're not privy to this, how can you fix it as a council?
Well, how do you get it if nobody gets it?
You're on the council, that's your job.
What? Look at
But the town.
They had that much more money to spend on all these trips.
That's right.
Right.
So basically, that money that we voted for the police department actually went to City Hall. Because when you reduced what was being given out of the general fund, you were just
Y'all
basically,
took away the money the town was giving.
you just took away the extra money that we had voted for the police
Trade of
department.
tax.
The tax goes to the police.
I know.
Yeah, but y'all quit giving the
You quit giving him the general fund, quit putting the same amount they had put in previous. They gave him less. They said, okay, you're getting that now we're not gonna give you what we gave you. And now, okay, if Russell is over there and he has used up all his regular hours for his men, and then you have a Pearl Street incident where they're throwing rocks at police cars and he needs the backup, do you want him, no, not call him, because that's gonna be overtime? Is that what you want?
No, what I wanted to do was a day or two a week, him work with the other one and save that person, that you would have that second one on there, kind of work it around. That's the way you do it. That's the way
This
I've
is
done
what we
mine.
need to be doing, though. We don't need to be throwing the whole department out just because we need to work something out.
Well, how are you going to get it worked out?
Well, no, this is not the way to work it out.
It might be.
We can't disband the police department, Carletta. You won't be safe over there on that corner. You know it.
Well, you heard Keith Gray. Do you think he's going to stay and pay $5,000 extra in his insurance? No, he's not. He said, I can go to
closer to the
Farmerville.
sheriff's department than it is the police
But
department.
the sheriff's
Departments in Junction City and Athens and all over.
They usually have one. I know a girl that works down there at Delta, Sky Dettenheim, had a wreck down in Athens. It took them almost an hour to get down there because there was one officer, sheriff deputy on duty, and he was up near Junction City. And she's in a wreck. Thank God it wasn't a critical situation, but she had to wait an hour for him to get down there. They don't have near the manpower the Homer has. You know why? Because the crime is in the city. It's not in the parish. They don't have the kind of force that you need in the cities. And they come in and help us a lot of times to back us up because they need it. Where's crime going to be if it's not going to be in the concentrated areas of the cities? You know, how much crime do you see? They're robbing a business out there on the highway? No, there's not very many people like that out there.
I don't know. I'd like to have, but I would like for it all to get within bounds of reason.
Well, this is something we definitely need to work on. But to do away with the entire department, that's not how you work on your getting the budget taken care of. That can be done.
Okay, when you're backed in,
If the people in this
everything that you suggest is not taken, what do you do?
If you had the people in this town willing to pass a tax to give you more funding for the police department, would that change your opinion? If the people in this town that live here.
Well, we were talking about a tax to get the water, the garbage pickup like it is out in the country.
Yeah. Well, if the people in this town, they showed you they support the police because they did vote. Taxes are not people. Who wants to vote for a tax? Who? Nobody. Nobody wants to vote for a tax, but they showed you they would vote for a tax for the police department. Maybe other things they wouldn't be as willing to vote for a tax, but they are. That we've already proven that we'd be willing to do that. So if you need more funding, if that's the answer, go to the community and give them the option. Say, hey, are y'all willing to do this? But I can tell you that the next time on the agenda that's going to say you can't reduce the department's funding to make up for what we're putting into it, because all that'll do is put more funding over here. And that's not what they voted on. That's not what that's not what I voted